OBS is a very good software to do streaming and video recording. As you know already, you can just switch from scenes like this one here, scenes 1, 2, and 3. In my case, these scenes corresponds to a computer screen that I have. So I have 3 computer screens. Then you can achieve the same thing by using a keyboard shortcut like Shift 1, Shift 2, and Shift 3. You can also stop the recording, start the recording, or pause the recording with these buttons or keyboard shortcuts. In this video, we will use a sample file, HTML file like this one here, to be able to achieve the same things. So we can switch the scene, 1, 2, 3. We can start the recording, we can stop it, we can start the recording, we can pause it, we can resume, and we can stop it again. This page is a simple HTML file, only one file with the CSS and JavaScript required to do these actions. The advantage of using a web page like this is the web page can be put on any phone or tablet that you have to control OBS, and that will liberate your computer screen with OBS. So you can just minimize OBS on your computer screen and use that computer screen for something else. This way you can just use your tablet or phone to control OBS for the scene switching and the recording, start, stop, and pause. So here we're using OBS version 29.1.3, and under tools, under WebSocket server setting, make sure that you have this option enabled. You can see that if you click Show Connect To, you have the WebSocket server IP, which is the computer IP 192.168.120, and the port is 4455. Here you have a web page called OBS Raw Generator. So from that web page you can send command to OBS. So the first thing you have to do is you have to connect to OBS like this. Now you're connected. As you may notice, here the IP is 127.0.0.1 because I'm using the computer itself. But if you use another program like the web page on your tablet, then your tablet has a different IP, and you will refer to the IP that I showed you 1 minute ago to connect to OBS WebSocket. If we go under scene, you have this command called get group list, and then if I send the request, there is nothing. Let's do it again. Send request, nothing. But if I try get scene list and click send request, then I got my 3 scenes, scene 1, scene 2, and scene 3. So basically the response is an object with key value pairs. So the last object is an array of objects like this, or you can say more likely a JSON object in that case. So let's go back to scene 1. So basically all the commands that you have here can be sent to OBS through WebSockets. So we're going to do a JavaScript program with some HTML and CSS to be able to switch the scenes and to be able to start, stop, or pause the recording. So here we have the GitHub page of OBS WebSocket JS, and if you go below, you're gonna see a very useful example in JavaScript how to connect OBS WebSocket server, how to disconnect, how to send requests, batch requests, receiving event, etc., etc. To be able to write a JavaScript program, a client WebSocket for OBS, you need to go to the npm OBS WebSocket JS, and you need to install the OBS WebSocket JavaScript library. Once the library has been installed, you can go to Node modules in your development software, like in that case this is Microsoft Visual Studio. Then you go under the OBS WebSocket-JS distribution. Then here obs-w.min, this is the minimized version of the JavaScript library, so this guy here. You will need to copy that library and put it in your HTML file. The HTML file is called simply obs.html. So you have the recording button, you have the pause button, and you can switch from scene 1, 2, and 3. Now if we go to developer mode, like this, you can see that we have only one file, obs.html. We don't have any dependency, we don't have any library outside the files. Everything has been put within the file. Now let's have a closer look on the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that we put in that file. So we go under element. Here we have the style. We have the division cloud, the division, HTML division called action, and that one called scene. If we go under action, we have an SVG element for the recording, and we have two paths. This is the circle outside and the circle inside, the inner circle for the recording. For the pause, it's another SVG, so we have three paths. We have the circle, we have the first bar, and we have the second bar. So one thing to notice, for recording, we have an ID of rec1 and ID of rec2. For the pause, we have an ID of pose1 for the first element, second element is pose2, third element is pose3. Now for the scene, if we expand the scene, we have a container called scenes, and we have the three scenes, scene 1, 2, and 3. These three HTML div element has been created dynamically by JavaScript. So if you have three scenes, you're going to have three buttons or three elements. And if you have 5, you will have 5. So, I mean, that will be populated automatically by JavaScript. Now, if we have a look for the CSS, we put the CSS in the file. So you have some styling for the SVG element. We scale 3 times to make the button bigger. You have action. So these two buttons, just positioning stuff. We have some CSS for scene, the container, and scene each button. And finally we have the body itself. So if we go back to element and we target the body here, this is the body element. So for the body, we have two possibilities for the rotation, because sometimes the tablet or the phone, the automatic rotation is not working. So we have implemented the rotation in the code, in the CSS and in the JavaScript. So you have two possibilities. You have the portrait orientation or the landscape orientation. Now let's have a look on the JavaScript program. We go to source. We have obs.html. And here we have the CSS. Then we have the HTML. And finally we have the JavaScript library from OBS here. And then we have the custom code that I did at the end. So let's go at the end. So here you have the custom JavaScript I have developed. Now let's see the code in action. So just restart the web page. So here we can see that the first thing is we get a new object called OBS from the library. So new OBS WebSocket. So let's trace the program. Then we just put all the DOM element, the SVG and SVG for recording and SVG for the pose. The element, we put them in objects like this, and the scenes. So we have rec1, 2, pose 1, 2, 3, and scenes. After that, we have some global variable like toggle, clip, record mode, and pose mode to false. Then we have a function called pose anim. We have a function called record anim, animation. We're gonna start two interval in JavaScript. The duration will be 0.5 seconds. So that's gonna start the record anim and the pose anim. So basically it's to control the color, the flashing color of the pose button and the record button. Then we just have a scene list, it's an empty array. We have a record function, so when you click record. We have a pose function when we click pose. We have set scene function when we switch from one scene to another. And the rotation for the page itself. So if your phone and tablet is not able to do auto rotate, you can just click the web page and the web page will rotate by itself. Then we have some event for the button, like the record here, and the pose, and the document itself, the body document for the rotation. This is the init function to when we start the program. So let's trace it again. Now this is init. So let's run it. Now the program is ready to connect to the OBS WebSocket server. But prior to do that, I just need to show you something here. So if we go back to OBS and we go under Tool, WebSocket setting, here we have connected WebSocket session. We have nothing. So let's go back to the screen here, the pose screen. Let's just trace that line. It's an asynchronous function to connect to the WebSocket server, the OBS WebSocket server. We trace it. Now let's go back to the OBS screen. Now you can see that this is our application who has connected to the WebSocket server of OBS 15 seconds ago. So we're connected. The first thing we do is to get the scene list. So we do OBS call get scene list. This is a asynchronous function. So we're gonna get the scene, data.scene, and we're gonna have a loop. And each iteration of the loop will create a new button with the scene name on it. So let's run it. So now we have data themes. So we'll create a div element. The scene name, that's the first one, that's scene 1. Class name scene, text content, scene name, scene 1. We had an embedded listener click. We had added to the scenes container, and we push it to the array. As you can see here, scene 1 has appeared on the web page. So now we could do the second one. Same thing. Now you have scene 2, 2 button, last one, scene 3. Now we have the 3 scenes available on the web page. Let's click scene 1. So we call the function setScene. If we trace it, we're gonna call OBS with setCurrentProgramScene, and the name of the scene will be scene 1. We got the name from the element, HTML element. Now it's done. Now we want to have a feedback of the name, so we just call OBS again and we say get current program scene, and we got here data. Under data we have a key called current program scene name, and the value is scene 1. So then we have a little loop. We're gonna loop through all the 3 buttons to make them white, and we will put in green only the one that we have selected by changing the background color to green yellow. So that's going to be this one here, and we're done. Same principle for scene 2 and scene 3. Now let's see the recording. So let's back to scene 1. We click record. Then we call the function called record. We set the record mode and pause mode, true and false. Then we set the color according to that. So now that's why you have gray color here, because we're going to start the recording. And after that we have the blinking red color. This is controlled by the this function rec interval to record animation. So if you go here, you can see that it's just toggling between red, black, red, black. Now let's stop the recording. By the way, I just put a comment for the real comment sent to the OBS. I don't want to stop the recording. I don't want to pause the recording of that video, so I just put the comment in. I just disabled the OBS call for the toggle record. So let's raise the program for that. We can run it. So you can see now that the recording has been stopped. So let's see the logic for the pause. We start the pause. So we call the pause function. We set the pause. So basically, if we click the pause, we're not recording, so the function will get skipped because we're not recording, so pause is not relevant now. So if we run it, nothing happens. But if we start recording and then we pause it, now the function will get executed. We have pause mode true and record mode false, and then we set the color according to that, like this, which is flashing yellow. Now it's in pause mode. Click again, run it. Now recording has resumed. because you disable the pause. And finally, you click record and you stop the recording. If you have any problem with your tablet or phone for the automatic rotation, you can rotate just by clicking here. So you're gonna call rotate, and you will flip portrait or landscape just by playing with the class list in CSS, like this. Click again, like this. So let's remove the debugging screen, and let's have a look for the source code. So you have only, as I said, you have only one HTML file. You have all the CSS. You have all the SVG for your buttons. And you have the JavaScript here. So you have everything in one file. It's up to you to change anything you want there in that file. And that's going to be fine. I mean, that's going to work very fine. You may have to reposition the button and you may have to reposition the button depending on your screen size on your phone or tablet. So you can just tweak around the file here. To conclude, this is a very basic HTML file to switch the scenes and to start, stop, or pause the recording. Now that HTML file may not work exactly for you depending on your phone or tablet screen dimension. As I said, you can just tweak around the source code to make it fit for you. So anyway, if you have any questions, just let me know, and thank you for watching.